Hello everyone, this is In-Game Art with another unboxing and an offline product game review. This is Trepang2 for the PlayStation 5. To jump into it, this physical copy here is just the base vanilla version of the game, so the on-disc version is 1.0. Now sadly there was an update available. This update size was 1GB big and will take you to version 1.04 since the time of this video. Now like always, I play all my games completely offline with an unregistered account, and I didn't experience any massive game-breaking bugs or issues. There were some minor hiccups and some little oddities, and I will mention it shortly here, but nothing that ever prevented me from progressing or into the flow of the game. And as well, I was still unlocking trophies with my unregistered account. Now, Trepang2 is a very interesting game, and it's a game I knew absolutely nothing about when I went into it. And the game is pretty much can summarize as a action-packed horror-esque style game. It has definitely touches of other games all mixed up in one package. You can clearly see the inspirations of a game series called Fear heavily inspired within the game. You can definitely see this as a successor to it. As well as there's a mixture of another game that I recall playing, which was Black, which had these really bombastic, as best I could say, like glorifying guns and stuff like that, and very chromey kind of feel to your guns. And guns just felt like overly powerful and loud and impactful when you shot them, as well as it had a mixture of Crisis in terms of that superhuman, super soldier feel to the game. And that's the best way I can describe the experience. Take those three ideas, mostly Black and Fear, and mix them all together with a drop of Crisis in the middle of it. And overall, I had a phenomenal time playing Trepang2. I was really going to go play the game all over again after I just got done beating it. But I do want to point out some issues before I forget some problems. Now, there was some slight FPS dropping. Thankfully, it never got to the point of a slideshow, but it definitely dropped within the 30 and 40 frames per second when chaos starts happening in the game. And other oddity moments where there was nothing going on, but I was looking at this particular object or certain area, and there's clearly the frame rate was dropping. There was some stuttering sometimes when games clearly is loading up assets and sections and stuff like that. Thankfully, this never really happened, or the frame rate, most part, during high-stakes situations. But when it was like loading up a next level or something like that, you could see the stuttering in terms of your camera and everything like that. Nothing crucial, but it was there. As well as that you can customize your gun to a certain degree. You can put like attachments to the gun and everything like that to give a unique playstyle in terms of that weaponry. Sadly, the weapon customization screen is very hard, at least for me anyway, to be able to look at where my navigation key is at, because it glows with the button, but the button's background, the box that you open up to customize, is glowing too, so it blurs out the image. It's just really difficult to see it. You would have to play it to see what I'm talking about, but it's really confusing how they went with that choice. As well as that, after I beat the game, I was not able to replay missions, which is pretty crucially bad because you have to play certain missions or do certain things to find specific weapon parts or intel, or beat a certain level at a certain difficulty to unlock certain cheat modes and stuff like that. So if you're near the ending of the game, which the last mission is to take on the Horizon HQ, do not do that mission until you have made sure you've done everything that you're comfortable with on every other mission. Because once you do that Horizon HQ mission, you will not be able to play any other missions and redo missions. So that's a big bummer there. As well as that for this video, I had to actually delete my save because you cannot start a new game from the main menu. You have to basically delete your save if you want to play a whole new campaign. So keep that in mind too if you beat the Horizon HQ campaign, that once you beat it, your save is no longer really be able to play in terms of the campaign. So that's a big flaw. The other issue was that all side missions in the game were basically a horde mode. And that was a little disappointing because, as much as I do enjoy horde mode, it was a little disappointing that all the side quests or side missions were a horde mode. What also has more disappointment was that the game has a horde mode. You can actually go into the combat simulator, which basically is a horde mode. So why have all your side quests horde mode if you literally have a combat simulator that's a horde mode? And again, it's very odd choices, design aspects, but I know I'm sound like I'm getting onto it and counting a lot of bad problems, and there is, but overall, the game was enjoyable. Like, I really enjoyed the mechanics of the game, the high-speed action, the slowdown time, the invisibility, which is straight up invisible. Like, it's not like a, how do you say, Halo or Crisis, for that matter, where you're somewhat invisible. If you get too close, people can see you. No, in this game, you're invisible, and that can be very abusive, and I really enjoyed it for that. But before we go into about the game, I do want to point out about the controls of the game. The control default setup isn't bad, but I believe it's not the most complementary to the overall mechanics of the game. I highly, highly recommend the first time you play this game, play it with default settings for a little bit, and then when you get to the point where you can do a combat simulator, go to the settings and look at my video and look how I customize the controls in my playthrough in the settings, and you will customize it into that, and I think you will greatly enjoy the setup better than the default. Well, the default isn't necessarily bad. It's just there's certain design points that were just a bit odd. For one point, there's sprinting in the game. There's no point to sprint in this game. Don't even worry about sprinting. Just slide everywhere. Why you want to slide? Because sliding has more advantages. You can shoot as you're sliding. You can knock down enemies as you slide, as well as you can slide backwards or side to side. Sprinting, you can't do any of that. As well as that when you do kill a certain amount of enemies, like a headshot or do certain special actions, you can unlock a stamina boost, and where it gives you unlimited stamina for a set period of time. So you could just start sliding all over the place, unloading on people. So I highly, highly recommend you check out how I got my settings set up for my button layout for my controller, and you try it with that one. I think you will greatly enjoy the gameplays more with my setup. But gameplay wise, again, it's a fast-paced shoot 'em up kind of style FPS, with a hint of horror mixed in there, which they've done it really good, and it had my attention. The overall music and setup was phenomenal. Graphically, yes, I'm not a graphical person, but the game did look good. I mostly was impressed with the sound effects of the guns and the equipment, the graphics of the explosions and shooting and stuff like that. That more impressed me more than the graphics. It's just that feeling of just overpowering your enemy and having all these cool sounding guns and explosions and stuff like that. Especially in later levels when the game starts getting really chaos, where everyone's just throwing grenades all over the place. It just causes pure chaos, and I loved it for that. And I did enjoy the atmosphere and mechanics of the game, like the horror aspect and the wondering what's going on and what's the mystery of this game. And just overall, it's a pretty lengthy, not super long, but it does, if you do everything, you're going to have a significant amount of time you can enjoy the campaign. As well as I said, you have a combat simulator where you can type horde modes and everything. Surprisingly, there's no PvP mode in this game. I think this game would have probably, even if you got rid of all the superpower stuff, it still would have been a good simple PvP game. So it's really disappointing that they didn't have at least a basic version of that. You could have just used all the horde maps for it too, if you wanted to. So it's well worth your pickup. Even with this base vanilla version, and it has that 1 GB update, yes, there were some issues, like not being able to replay missions after you beat the game, but that is, as upsetting as that is, I mean, I really just wanted to run through this game again. I'll be perfectly honest with you guys. Even when I went back to record this, I was having a blast with the game. I was just, especially when I reworked the controls and made it to more comfortable to what I have set up now. It is a lot more enjoyable and a lot more entertaining, and a lot more faster movement and activating your powers and sliding and attacking and everything like that. Much better setup with my setup. But anyway, it blows my mind how we're ignoring this game. Like, I have looked into it. There's hardly anyone talking about it. There's barely any really reviews or anything like that. Do not overlook this first-person shooter. Granted, if you're not into first-person shooters or high-stake, high-speed shooting games, this is not going to change your opinion, obviously. But if you're into the, like, let's say Call of Duty's campaign, which was like a less than 4-hour joke of a game, and that somehow will probably sell more than this game did, and that's just unacceptable. Do not overlook this game. The other little oddity is the name of the game. That might draw some people away. The name of the game is called Trepang2, which, after looking it up, apparently the studio behind this game made another game called Trepang, and it's just called Trepang. It doesn't have a number, and it was about a sea cucumber or something like that. So I don't know. I guess it was an in-house joke for the studio to call this Trepang2, like their second game. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it was a missed opportunity to give the game a good name. Like, could have called it Black Fear or Fear Black or something like that. I don't know. People would probably put some racial stereotype stuff in that if we called it one of those two. But regardless, probably a better name would have been better than Trepang2. But in the end, I am highly, highly interested in the sequel of this game. And really, I just want to play this game again. I just how much I enjoyed it. And the higher difficulties were pretty challenging. And it just, I don't know, it just blows my mind how this is being ignored for reasons beyond me. This isn't an indie game. It's from the publishing team of Team 17, so they published it. It's from a studio I've never heard of, Trepang Studios. But, man, they really impressed me. So I don't want this video to go on too long. I just want to let you know, do not overlook this game. Look at how I got my buttons set up. Try it out. And remember, when you get to the end of the game and the last mission is Horizon HQ, make sure you've done everything in the game before you do that mission, because once you beat it, man, you can't play campaign anymore. So like always, thank you all so much for watching. I will try to leave links down in the description. If you're an instant copy, I recommend it. Do not overlook it. The game was fun, fluid, smooth, little to no problems, and I'm just definitely going to come back to this game very soon here, because I just had so much fun. So like always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye-bye!